Hello. I'm Bradley Wilson, narrator for the Rogue Researchers channel, inviting you on another armchair excursion with the Rogue Researcher. So, sit back, and let's go back to the garden for the gods, that is. This episode is part 2 of Island Colorado, and Island Colorado has many parts. I mean, parts are parts. And our ancient history, and I do mean ancient history, comes in parts. The trick is connecting the parts correctly, so when assembled it generates the image we need to see. In episode 4, we assembled a few parts of North America's geological history. Which, as we know, North America has been from one extreme to the other on its forever changing evolutionary path. As I said earlier, parts are parts, and this image has more parts than you can see, until we put the parts together, thus making possibilities, probabilities. In my search, I found a few of the components that's missing from our image of the historical past. Time, travel, distance, and rate of motion, which are important factors to consider. North America started its journey 200 million years ago, and has traveled an estimated distance of 11,619 kilometers, or 7,219.8 miles. That measurement is based on the distance between the present-day southern Florida coastline and the West African coastline of Mauritania. The average rate South America and Africa have put between themselves is about 1 inch per year. In the 100 million years, South America has traveled an average of 5,630 kilometers, or 3,500 miles. In the 100 million years, between the separation of North America and the fragmenting of South America from Africa, North America had gone through numerous transitions, and was divided by the Western Inland Sea, from north to south. We'll get back to the subjects of South America and Africa in a future Armchair Excursions episode. My research started in Colorado, back in the year 1967. A long time ago for me, but geologically speaking, a flash. Geology is Mother Nature's clock, and she ticks slowly. I snapped this picture at the Garden of the Gods Visitors Center in 1995. The vista opened a window in time when this image slapped me in the face as I focused on the overall shape of the formation before me. Once recognized, it's unforgettable. Of course, the Visitors Center is a major attraction one must visit before going into the garden, especially if they aren't familiar with the region. This picture ignited a search as to whom created this gigantic work of art, and how has it stayed hidden for so long. I believe what we find on the backside of South Gateway Rock may give us a clue as to whom may have had a hand in the creation of some, if not all, of what we find on North Gateway and South Gateway Rock formations. I have a different name for North Gateway Rock that I'll share shortly. First, we must examine an image found on the backside of South Gateway Rock, on the vertical standing slab of red sandstone, in order to expose the talent and daring of the artist, or artists that created it. Maki-Maki, in the Quechua and Japanese languages, means sculpted by hand. More on that connection later. Just going by visual observation, I'd venture to guess this is thin layers of limestone, or hardened volcanic ash, still clinging to the cliff face. Sadly, my days of climbing these formations have long since passed, but luckily, we've been blessed with drone footage that takes us to these locations in a zip, without all that effort, and exposing ourselves to the dangerous situations that climbers face when climbing up sandstone. I've been told more than once that the images I share are nothing more than pareidolia, and yes, there is pareidolia everywhere. However, when someone tells me what I present is pareidolia, my answer to them is, have you done the research behind what is presented? What are the depths of time that Maki-Maki comes from, and whom were the creators. The probability of me ever identifying the exact moment in time this global phenomena, Maki-Maki, and shadow art were created is slim to none. But, I'm confident we can nail down a span of time that the art covers. Let's take a brief look into an eroding past, where before the buffalo roamed the Great Plains of North America, back when the western inland sea was heard lapping at the base of the formation walls. I want to show you some of the wonders on and surrounding Northgate Rock and Southgate Rock. I promise not to show you all of them, in case you ever wish to visit, and I do recommend a few days stay. We are looking at Northgate Rock from the backside in an area I call the Back 40. There are 4 easily recognizable images on the west side of Northgate Rock that needs a little zoom action to reveal the images. In the next episode, number 6, I'll take you into the area where the ancients lived, and share more, in the hopes you and others will grasp and embrace the importance of these monuments and the messages on them. There is a need to preserve them and give credits to a long-gone people. Erosion, whether it be the erosion of stone or time, they eventually erase what once was, like the Langoliers did in that Stephen King movie. What once was, no longer is, and the garden is in the middle of that analogy. Personally, I've found Maki-Maki on the North and South American landmasses. Predominantly, in the Garden for the Gods, and in the Sacred Valley of Cusco, Peru. The major difference between the two locations lay between the consistency of the stone that we find the Maki-Maki located on. The garden is sandstone, and Peru is granite, with some exception. We are just barely scratching the surface of this global phenomenon of shape-shifting forms of shadow art that's created by the images cut into the landscapes around the planet. In the following episodes, I'll share more of my theory of the Garden for the Gods and the Sacred Valley. The connection between the two is there, however, we have to step back many millions of years in order to see the layers of time Maki-Maki emerged from. On behalf of the long-standing member of the Lone Wolves Society, Bob Newton, aka the Rogue Researcher, we thank you for your time and interest in the armchair excursions, and hope you'll join us for the 6th episode of this never-ending journey. Please comment, like, and subscribe if you'd like future notifications when the next episode is released. Something to look forward to in the future is how my research led me to Australia and the mysterious Egyptian hieroglyphs located just outside Kariong, Australia.